How's it going out there tonight?
Well, you stumped me now.
Check out our website, mannimalresearch.com. Thanks to everybody. Hello. How's it going out there tonight? So glad that everyone could be here, hang out with us for about an hour or so tonight. Hope everyone is doing well, staying warm, staying dry out there. Those of you that are going to catch it live with us tonight, those of you that will catch it later, we certainly appreciate your support. We absolutely do. Joined tonight, as always, by my partner in crime, the lovely, the talented, the just the heartthrob, Mr. Jasper Walls. How's it going tonight, buddy?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Enjoying the pretty weather right now.
Man, how awesome has it been the last couple of days?
I think we ended up getting our spring early before everybody else.
I know, man. It's been close to 70 degrees here in the South. Last couple of days. I was looking at the weather, though, about 2 o'clock in the morning down here, Eastern time, we're about to start getting hit with the rain, and it's supposed to rain the rest of the week, literally, all the way through Sunday. So that's ugly. Yeah. I guess we're getting the back end of some storm. I don't keep up with it. I don't know.
Right.
What's been going on with you, buddy?
Not much. Just work. Normal day. Normal thing. Ain't nothing new yet.
You sent me a message earlier about that cabin up in LJ. Yeah, I used to run a route up there, a pest control route in LJ, Georgia, Blue Ridge, Georgia, the Blue Ridge Mountains up there. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's a hotbed for Sasquatch activity. So,
did you look at the pictures?
Yeah, the pictures. I mean, that place is beautiful. It really is.
There might be something we could try to, get everybody there. I mean, it's 2-bedroom, but everybody pitch in and I could do something there because you got a creek right there. Hell, we don't know if something might show up right there.
Yeah, I wonder how secluded it is, because I'm telling you, up there, man, the rental cabins, that's a big part of their industry up there, the tourist industry. Yeah. And they pile them cabins on top of each other, on top and on top. I mean, you can't walk out your door without walking. You can't walk out your front door without walking on the back door of another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something you got to look at, but it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the country, for sure.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was thinking, like, dang, that might be pretty cool to go up there and.
Oh, we can definitely look into it, check it out. Let's do all this boring stuff that we do before we get started every week. I want to ask everybody, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. We added quite a few more before the show started tonight. I think it's because of our guest. He spread the word, and he's pretty well known in this community. I guess everybody knows we're talking about Mr. Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. Duke is backstage now. Will be joining us shortly, and he's brought over a bunch of his people, and I want to say hello to them and welcome, and hope you guys like what you hear, and hit that subscribe button, come back, hang out with us some more. But yeah, guys, hit that subscribe button if you don't mind, and when we're done here, head over to mannimalresearch.com. That's our website. You can get information on becoming a member of Mannimal, maybe getting out doing your own research, look at some of our pictures. And like I've been saying, that the website's been neglected. And this week, I'm telling you, I'm going to get on there and update it. So I got to quit procrastinating and just do it. So yeah, there's going to be an update, some updates coming to the website. So yeah, guys, head on over there, check that out. You can report your encounters and all that good stuff. And also, we are on Facebook, Mannimal Research on Facebook. Everybody's got a Facebook, so check us out there. And Mr. Duke actually introduced me to a site called MeWe. And I got you on there Walls.
Yeah.
It's basically just another social media platform. And it's not, Duke likes it. And we'll let him talk about it a little bit if he wants to when he comes on. He likes it because it's not censored like Facebook is. You can get away with talking about a little bit more over there. But I like it so far. I created a group over there, Mannimal Research. So guys, check out MeWe. If you aren't familiar with it, it's pretty cool little site. I'm pleased with it so far. But yeah, we're on Facebook. So and like always, guys, tonight ask questions. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want. We can't guarantee that we'll get to them all, and no chances are we won't. And that's just because we don't have time. But if you have a question for Duke, type it in all caps so that we know we can see it, we can get to it. And we were talking to Duke before we came on tonight, and I told him, I said, I don't have any questions lined up or written down, anything like that. Usually I have a couple questions I want to ask, make sure I ask people. But with him, we're just going to let you guys dictate how the show goes. Y'all have any questions, feel free to ask him. Duke's fine with it. He said, that's what he wants to do too. So we'll just do kind of a Q&A thing. Wherever you guys want to take the show tonight, that's what we'll do. So, yeah, but if you have questions, make sure you get them all in all caps. Also, our new segment, Mannimal Encounters. Guys, send over your encounters by email to mannimalencounters@yahoo.com. We got that set up, and we're going to start reading off encounters that people send in. Not everybody's comfortable coming on here and putting their face on video on YouTube, and not everybody's comfortable sharing that way. So, some people, that they don't want their name out there, they don't want their location or anything. So this is a good way of doing it. We still need the knowledge, we need the information, we need the knowledge, and the best way to learn about these things is from people that have witnessed them firsthand. So that's what we want. So guys, if you've witnessed these things, even not just these things, a dog man or a UFO sighting, paranormal, anything weird, send it over to us and we'll talk about it. And I'll be reading some encounters. I'm getting ready to release the first one now. Buddy Walls is going to do some, and Miss Janice Carter said that she would help us out too. We might even do some like a round table type thing where the three of us get together and read some encounters. But yeah, that's coming. But guys, we won't be able to do it unless we get more encounters. So send those in to mannimalencounters@yahoo.com. All right. All of that out of the way. While I've been talking this 8.5 minutes, we have 51 comments. You can keep up with them?
Somewhat.
Duke brought over a bunch of his people, like I said. So it's going to be a good show tonight, guys. Anything you want to ask? No, obviously keep it respectful. Watch the language, guys. We're not going to tolerate any arguing and going back and forth in the comment section. Be respectful to each other. Like Mama said, you ain't got nothing nice to say. Don't say anything at all. But no F-bombs, no anything like that, guys. Just keep it clean, keep it respectful, if you don't mind. And if you can't seem to do that, we'll just have to get rid of you. And we don't want to do that. So yeah, you got anything else before we bring Duke on, buddy?
No, I'm trying to read the comments. I think I might be picking out one that already talking, but I'm gonna keep it quiet.
Just send me a message. Let me know which one you're looking at, and just keep an eye on it. All right, buddy. If you're ready, we'll bring Duke on.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's get Mr. Duke on here.
From the great state of Montana, Mr. Duke, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Howdy, guys. Howdy, everybody out there in listener land. Hope you're all doing good tonight.
Good deal. We'll start off by thanking you for making the time for us. Come on. This is the second time you've been on, and it's always fun to have you on, and we appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, buddy.
Sure, no problem, guys. I like your show. I want people to know that you're out there, that it's available as an option to check out. These guys pretty much consistently do good shows. And like they just mentioned, they had Janice Carter on, so they don't get sucky guests.
Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, buddy. You are definitely one of the fan favorites. I don't really want to say fan. Now we don't have fans. One of the listener favorites, and one of the few that we get requested to bring back on, and certainly appreciate your knowledge. Yeah, actually, we're going to get started right now. One thing that I noticed last week, you were hanging out with us on the show that we just recently did with Dev Rooney, and she is big into Dogman, and you had made the comment about the difference between a Dogman and, help me pronounce that kind of Bigfoot. Is it the Gugwi? Gugwi?
Yeah.
Good.
Pretty easy to distinguish if you get a full view of it. Gugwies don't have hocks like a Dogman does. Dogman's got the legs just like a dog or a wolf or any other canid, where the extended back part of the foot makes it look like there's a double joint in the leg, but it's actually just the foot. They're walking on the pad, and then of course the heel is actually up in the air where the dew claw is. The same thing with a Dogman. They've got hawk-looking legs on them, and also mostly reported with having a tail. And the Gugwi don't have tails, and they don't have hawks.
Yeah,
they look essentially just like a Bigfoot, except for they've got a snout on them. And they got, according to the several reports you've heard now, including really close-up ones, they've got ears on the side of their head, but they've got tufts of hair that stick up on their head that are like a lynx sort of thing. It's not actually their ears, it's just their hair. But it makes it look like they got pointy, ears on top of their head sometimes. So there's another way that's easy to misidentify. But apparently the one case where we had an eyewitness where they had actually shot one of these damn things, it had not only the big canines you would expect, but double rows of teeth and claws on its digits. So another way you can identify it as being different from a Bigfoot.
Now these Gugwies, they're pretty nasty, right? And I'm gonna put up a question here. I think it's a really good question if you want to field it too. But yeah, they're pretty nasty, aren't they?
Yeah, those are the ones you want to worry about. I think a lot of the missing 411 reports aren't Bigfoot doing it. It's these things that are doing it. Bigfoot's just getting the blame for it. I don't think they're really, the sightings are increasing in number. I think that people's willingness to come forward and talk about it is increasing.
So, Duke, you're saying this is not this is totally opposite side of a Bigfoot, correct? Or is it just a creature by itself?
Yeah, we don't know if it's a sub-variety or if it's a completely different creature, but they sure don't act like Bigfoot. They look similar enough that people can mistake them.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Cool. Okay. Because I was under the assumption that they were a type of Bigfoot, but I guess it makes sense that they might be something completely different.
Yeah, we just don't know. I mean, we don't know if they're related, if they're a sub-variety, if it's a completely different thing that looks similar. Look, we got several varieties of big cats in North America. They're not the same critter. They're big cats, And so how closely related are they? Well, until somebody gets some nice tissue samples that we can do some DNA testing on and compare to the Ketchum DNA study, we don't know. It could be just a sub-variety of the same thing that's extremely aggressive and almost 100% carnivorous, or it could be something that's not even related. Like the Gugwi could be something that's basically related to or descended from what do they call it? Dinopithecus, which was like a giant baboon essentially. And if you took a Dinopithecus and stood it upright, took the tail off of it, it's essentially a Gugwi. It's what they look like. So, there's another strong contender, but we just don't have that much information that we know, that we can't say with any kind of certainty.
Okay, got another question here.
Does anybody hear a humming or a howl? I hear a freaking howl. Do you hear a humming in the noise in the background?
You get any feedback, Duke?
I hear you echoing.
I don't hear anything.
I hear a howl. Man, I ain't drunk.
Are you
I
sure?
hear a freaking howl. I don't know where it's coming from.
But y'all sound lovely to me. I don't have any complaints.
It's behind us. It's not y'all. I can hear you clear. I'm hearing it like
Yeah, it literally can't be coming from here, so you can eliminate that as a possibility.
You'll be all right, buddy.
it might be my fan on the computer. I don't know.
To the question from Sharon,
Duke, have you ever heard
Eyeshine?
of eye shine that looks like the color of a light bulb?
What color light bulb? You know, they make them with multiple colors now. I assume you're talking about a standard soft white that's sort of like off-white yellowish. Yeah, they've seen, Bigfoot eyeshine tends to reflect whatever color is flashed at it. So you get everything in the spectrum from white through yellow, green, amber, red. If they're pissed off, you get red. But a lot of times it depends on the angle of the light and what kind of light source you're using. I know somebody that actually was out in the field and they both had flashlights, the same kind, and they were standing about 25, 30 feet from each other, lighting up the edge of the woods, and they could both see the eye shine. And one of them said, "Hey, you see that green eye shine over there?" And the other one said, "It's blue." I said, "No, it's green." Well, there's a third person there that was standing next to the one guy with the flashlight, walked over to the other one and looked, and yeah, it was different from that angle. It was a different color. They both had the same flashlights, just because it's a different angle.
Yeah. Wow. That makes sense. Duke, I am intrigued by Glag. When you saw him, did he speak English? Was he hard to understand? Now, did you see Glag, Duke? I didn't know you saw him.
No, I haven't had a chance to see Glag.
Okay.
Nope. From what Kevin says, yeah, he can speak English. I don't know how good he is because he maybe hasn't had anybody to practice with for like 30 years, but
yeah,
I'm sure he remembers some of it.
I've been listening to some of the Glag saga. Now, Kevin has passed away, hadn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately, he died May 4th last year.
Hate to hear that. I obviously didn't know him, and I'm late getting into the story of it, but seemed like an all right guy.
The sadder thing is that he did a live chat and took a Q&A about Glag every week for an entire year. And then he got pressured to take all of those videos down off of his channel. So now, of course, they're unavailable to everybody. But anybody that bothered to come on the show and ask a question and chat, he answered the question.
That's cool. All right, we got a question from Mr. Andy Jones. What is it going to take to move research forward to get Bigfoot recognized as an actual species? That's the $1 million question right there, Andy.
It isn't recognized as an actual species in other countries. They're taught about it in school in China. The Russian kids know about it. Russia declared them an actual species, an endangered one in 1965. France and Germany followed suit, and I think it was like 1967. So yeah, there's other countries that already recognize it's a real species. It's just, we're clods. When is the research in the U.S. going to move forward? When you have a different government that doesn't suppress it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I was going to say. I'll say until we get the government out of it, yeah.
Quick and simple. Video Duke's YouTube channel. Looking for some more questions here. You see any walls?
Yeah, I was up. They're coming in pretty fast. Where's that? Be Tropical. No, yeah, Tropical Watch. It says, Duke, do all Bigfoots have the cone-shaped head? Is that 917?
No, definitely not. Sometimes you even see mixed groups where you've got some from type 1 and some from type 2 in it. We class them that way. The bigger adults and the type 1s will end up getting that cone head, and the type 2s keep a round head. Apparently, they never seem to get that cone, even if they're huge. So that's one of the things we use to distinguish between a type 1 and a type 2 sighting. And it's hard to know because when they're younger, all of them have basically round heads. So unless you're seeing a really big one, it's kind of hard to tell what you got there.
You got something from Big Mama asking what is, I'm not sure if she's getting Glag out of there or flag.
No, it's just someone saying, who is Glag? Glag is, talk about Glag real quick for those who don't know, Duke.
There's about 9 hours of video about Glag over at my channel. It's called the Glag Saga. You can go over there and watch all of it. I've been updating them trying to improve the sound quality and put in more pictures and stuff and have better versions of them for people to look at. But it's about Kevin Lang when he was a kid in Idaho, like 35 years ago. He ran across an orphaned Sasquatch that was just basically a toddler and ended up having to take care of it and help keep him alive for the next 5 years till he had to go out to college and left the area. And so that's what it's about. A human got to spend 5 years with a Bigfoot as a best friend. That's what it's about.
Wow. Now, someone made the comment, Stashman said Washington State declared it a species. Do you know anything about that?
I know there's individual localities in Washington State that have laws on it, and specifically no hunting ones and stuff like that. I'm not aware that Washington had actually declared it a species.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that either.
I actually looked up something about. I actually see it right now. I'm reading it right now. About California. A woman is suing California.
Glad I already had her on my show talking about it.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I beat everybody to the punch on that one. There was like one place in Russia and one place in France that reported on it, and I had her on my show. And then it was literally 2.5 months before any outlet in North America had her on to talk about it. It was over 3 months before the local news where she lives covered it.
Now, is she the one that got Todd Standing to help her?
Yep, she had Todd show up and help her with the paperwork and stuff. And, of course, he's Canadian, and this is California, so it didn't translate very well, and the case wasn't usable. They had
what happened there?
Bad law advice from the lawyers on their side. Todd helped him do the best he could, but the lawyers on their, these are California lawyers, so yeah, they basically just wasted their time. So.
Okay, so has anything come of it?
No, unless they refile the case or something, and I'm not sure she even lives in California anymore. So, Nope. They just stonewalled it, like the same thing they did with Todd up in Canada. They wouldn't even hear the case.
What is your opinion of Todd, Duke?
I think you should quit wasting his time trying to sue Canada. They're well aware of Sasquatch, and they're not going to tell anybody that it's real.
What about his pictures and stuff?
I think so. At least some of it's legit.
I've heard the video of the one running up that steep grade that was real, and that's pretty impressive video.
If I remember right, I think Thinker Thunker did a breakdown on that where he showed relative size and scale, and either it was an 8.5-foot guy in a monkey suit that was a track runner, or it was probably a Bigfoot. Yeah. And there's another one that Todd filmed where he's out in the dark and he's got this Bigfoot on camera, and it's it's the winter and he's up on the mountain, it's all snow, and it's got its back to him and he's trying to get its attention, get it to turn around, and it just won't do it. And there's another one on his right-hand side that's like getting ticked off about it. And finally, it's trying to make noise and stuff, get him to switch his attention so the other one can move, which he won't do. He's keeping the camera on it. And finally, he decides to get his attention by hitting him with a log and knocking him off the hill. I think that one was probably real. That Bigfoot's back looks pretty damn real, I'll tell you that.
I've seen that video, yeah. Yeah. Now, I mean, everybody in this community has their opinion of him. No matter what you think about his stuff, the dude's out there. He's putting in the effort. He's out there doing it, and a lot of times he's by himself, which is pretty impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, the one you can actually get more done on your own, but that doesn't mean you'll be able to document it because they want to come around and visit you when they're pretty sure you don't have a camera handy or something. So you're not going to be able, and I know people would be like, yeah, bullshit. No, they're that observant. If you got some kind of recording device or something, they'll just wait until you put it down or you go to sleep. Or it's like hanging off your neck and they can run past real fast and you can't film them.
That's
they
so
like playing their damn games with you. They're very aware of what's going on. And, they're playing hide and seek. And, whether you see them or not, they don't want to get recorded. That's how they really, really lose. Maybe you get to see them for a second. Hey, you can't prove it. Oh, you film them, that's a different story. They don't like that. So any kind of weird electronic stuff, and some of them probably just aren't too sure what any of it is. Anything you're pointing at them, is it a weapon or is it some kind of other thing? They don't know. They'll stay the hell away from it.
Do you think they know what a gun is?
Absolutely. Even the basic animals got that one figured out. Here in Montana, forestry has been warning people that when they go out hunting, especially with rifles, they should be very aware of their surroundings and what's following them. Because the local mountain lions and grizzlies have figured out if you see somebody walking around with a rifle, you should follow them because it means they're going to shoot something. And then you might be able to steal their kill or at least get a yummy gut pile out of it. So now the grizzlies and mountain lions are following the hunters around. So you're safer walking with a pistol than you are with a friggin' rifle up here.
Amen. Amen. We had a discussion with a pretty heated discussion with one of our members about a month ago about carrying a long gun or long weapon, because there's just too many reports of these things knowing what they are. And for what we're doing, going out in the woods, we're trying to have encounters with them, and we're just killing ourselves if we're carrying a rifle or something like that, because they're not going to come around, you know.
Well, we found that to be the case, and that's one of the rules of the people that go up and do research with me, which tends to make them really paranoid because we're in Montana, and we're like oftentimes going 20 miles into the middle of a mountain range or something and camping there. We're like, humans can't even get there most of the year, right? So this is like prime. Montana is the animal attack capital of North America. We even got Alaska beat. So yeah, there's lots of animal attacks here, right? And I keep telling them, no guns. Well, what if there's a grizzly? There won't be. Well, how can you be sure? Because we're camping where the Bigfoot are. Oh, well, can I like keep my gun in the truck? Yeah, that's it. Keep it in the truck. If you walk around strapped, they're not going to get anywhere near you. And the less displays of weaponry and also electronic equipment. If you don't noticeably have any kind of electronic equipment nearby, they're more prone to sneak right up on camp. We had we left an audio recorder going, and them folding camp chairs, they've got like the little pocket where you can put a thing of a pop container or glass or something like that you can stick in there. Well, Michael left his audio recorder going and stuck it in there, and we were listening to the one file, and about an hour after we go to sleep, you can hear something walking around camp. And it literally comes up and taps the top of the recorder with its finger. Like they're so aware of, hey, there's something going right here. Tap.
Yeah. What about a handgun, like on your hip in a holster?
Yeah, I mean, for the guys that when we're out walking around, I even kind of, I discourage that. We carry hand weapons. We carry battle axes and swords and shit. If some mountain lion comes after us, we're gonna fuck them up.
Yeah. I got a question for you right here. What's your favorite cryptid to investigate? Bigfoot?
Yeah, I don't do any on-the-ground investigations of other types of cryptids unless they happen to be, we discover evidence of them in the area we're already researching. I would need to have other people on my team that have specific skill sets that we currently lack to do research on some of these other things.
Have you ever seen a dog man?
I have never seen a dog man. I have not seen evidence of one in person. I got a guest coming up on my, maybe not the next show because we're going to be doing an addenda show for the one we did this week. But the show after that is two Lutheran pastors from Western Idaho that have Bigfoot, Dogman, and Gugwe stuff going on in their neighborhood. And one of them's got video of where a dogman apparently ran across the roof of his freaking house. Wow. And left tracks in the snow. Yeah, several nearby houses too.
This is in Idaho?
Yep, way over in Western Idaho.
Wow. What are some of your favorite video evidence? What's some of your favorite?
You mean just like for Bigfoot? Obviously Patterson-Gimlin film, Freeman footage. I like the video that Leo Frank got in Nova Scotia in 2018. I got that up on my channels other than YouTube, who took it down. But it's on the other ones. It's over on BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, all those other platforms where I also have a channel. So you go see it over there if you want to. There's a couple other ones that are pretty good. There's some hoaxy stuff out there too that can't be relied on. The one skunk ape video where the guy sneaks up on it and it's tearing the log apart and it's got his back to him. That looks legit to me. The what is it? Trying to think of the name of it. There's another one down in Florida. Tim Fasano checked it out, and a couple other people looked into it. Lettuce Lake footage, where the guy's in the canoe and he films this one that's like steps down into the water and then walks away. I've actually been to that area. Anybody in a monkey suit walking around out there is absolutely insane. There's poisonous snakes and 8 and 10 foot gators in there, and there's no real like certain bottom. You could just step into mud and disappear over your head. So yeah, that one to me looks like it's legit too. There's a bunch of them out there.
Yeah, there is some good footage, and from what I hear, due to just being attacked relentlessly when you release something, there's some really good stuff that's not being released. Do you have anything like that you've seen?
Well, yeah, you run across it every so often. I get people that send me stuff that they just aren't going to release ever, but I get to see it, and it's like, well, it's sad you're not going to release it.
Yeah. I
had some folks down in Florida that had all kinds of activity on this property for about 20 years, and they had game cams up all over the place, and we're documenting it. And I've been trying to get a hold of them for a few months now, and I just can't get a hold of them. Like they dropped off the map and don't want to have anything to do with it as far as I can tell.
Duke, do you have Bigfoot on your property? If so, is there mutual respect?
No, there's no Bigfoot here because I live in town where I don't have to worry about that. They have to sneak about 5 blocks into town to get to me, so they ain't doing it.
It's probably good.
Do we have,
in what state? Go ahead, buddy.
We got Trent Odens we have him scheduled for our channel.
Who?
Trent on those.
Tread
Yeah,
on
Tread.
those?
Yeah.
Do we? What's your name, buddy? Oh, I think we do. We were just talking tonight.
Yeah.
Ted?
It's Tread.
I know. I think his name is Ted though.
Okay. Yeah, he's I wanted to, he had said something about he was nudged, and I was like, ooh. And told him to send that stuff to the Mannimal encounters. I'd love to hear it. Said, cool. I just checked on that.
In what state do the Sasquatch seem most aggressive? That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. You have to factor in how many Bigfoot there are likely to be in the state and how many people there are in the state to see them, and then ratio that, and then compare that to how many accounts you've got that are aggressive. So that's like a huge number crunching undertaking, which, by the way, I've already done. The answer is Alaska.
Alaska is the most aggressive?
Yeah, unfortunately, most of the ones they run into up there have just like no patience for humans whatsoever. And even the ones that are going to escort you out will scare the crap out of you during the process of doing it. Lots of records. Don't forget, there's like, oh God, it's a horrendously high number. I mean, they've only got 600,000 for a population of that whole state, which is the size of everything from the Rocky Mountains west.
Yeah, Arkansas is 2.5 times the size of Texas and has less than 1 million residents.
Yeah. So this is Alaska is 2.5 times the size of Texas and has 600,000 residents, and over half of them live in Anchorage. So how deserted is the rest of the state? Now, the interesting thing there is that so many people go missing. It's totally out of proportion to what should be happening. Yeah, granted, there's people that go out in the middle of nowhere and stuff happens to them. Sure. But a lot of these people are locals that grew up there their entire lives, know what the hazards are prepared for them, have had to deal with it every day of their life. And poof, they just disappear. And when you lose like 1/10 of your population over about 10 years, that's pretty bad.
It is. There's some crazy stuff going on up in Alaska. I've been listening to an Audible book of mine that I purchased last month, and it's about particular Bigfoot encounters in Alaska, and there's some stuff going on up there, man. It's crazy.
Well, if you think about it, there were probably more different cryptids and whatnot running around on the East Coast 200-300 years ago than there are now, because the humans just kind of displaced them. Well, that hasn't happened in Alaska. All the original crap, it's still there.
Yeah.
People have control of very small parts of that state. There's entire mountain ranges maybe nobody has ever even walked through. We have no idea what's up there. Even the locals will tell you, like, yeah, don't go on the other side of this mountain range. That's where the giants live. They'll eat you. What?
They'll eat you.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And if you try and go over there, they'll be like, you ain't going over there, because they'll get pissed and they'll come back here and try and eat us. Stay the hell out of there.
So I take it Alaska is not going to be your answer to this question. Duke, what are your favorite places to camp?
Yeah, actually, I really like it right here in Montana, because we don't have much in the way of humidity or mosquitoes or anything. So it's nice dry camping. A lot of the time you don't even need any bug repellent or anything. You can be out there for days and not get a bug bite. Yeah. So enjoy that. Very few poisonous snakes. There's only one kind of poisonous spider, and they're not aggressive. So yeah, you can be just a complete clod and fall all over the place in the woods here and never get bit or stung by anything.
Yeah, I mean, some of the best, my favorite camping is winter camping. I would rather camp in the winter than in the summer. We've got heaters, got, big comfy sleeping bags. We'll make fire stay warm. You ain't got to worry about the bugs. The leaves and everything are off the trees, so you can see further into the woods. I would much rather camp in the wintertime.
Yeah, that's an actual option down there. Up here it isn't. When you got 6 feet of snow and it's 20 degrees below zero, you're not doing any camping.
Yeah.
You got to have a snowmobile to even get there. And then what are you going to do? Build an igloo and stay all night in that? I don't think Bigfoot's going to come over and shake your igloo,
Uh-huh.
No, most of our research areas, you can't even get there after October. The passes are closed and they don't open again until May. So it's not even an option. Just the opposite down in the south. When you guys are sweltering and roasting, that's when the weather up here is like 85 degrees, no humidity, and no mosquitoes. Yeah, let's go camp for 2 weeks. And we don't get much rainfall in the summer either, so that makes it even better.
Dude, what is the metallic popping sounds Bigfoot make? I want to know this one because we've heard this a few times.
Yeah, good question, Rev. If you get recordings of that, send them along to a Bigfoot anthropologist who does breakdowns and that sort of audio and has been working on it for a while. And he's convinced, and several of the rest of us, that they're communicating with each other. Those little pops and clicks and stuff are their way of talking to each other, signaling each other. And the other thing that it may tie into is, how do they see so well in the dark? Even if you can see into the infrared range, all of the background vegetation is the same temperature. So that's not going to help you that much. When it's a moonless, completely black, stormy, crappy night, everything is pitch black, and yet somehow they don't seem to ever step on a twig and make a noise unless they want to. Well, what if they can do the same thing bats can, and all those little pops and clicks are echolocation? And they make a couple little pops and they see the whole map, everything near them. And then they can take a few steps, and then they make another one. They see the area they're going into. They can take a few more steps, completely silent, don't need sight at all.
That's so interesting. That's so very interesting. So you have somewhere to send audio like this? Now, is it just in particular pops and clicks that you're looking for, or what?
Well, no, he takes just like raw audio of people that are having Bigfoot encounters, and he sifts through it and finds all of the background noises that don't fall into the spectrum of normal noises or animal noises or wind or anything the humans are making, because usually it falls into frequency ranges that aren't normal either, which is, of course. But he's pulled this popping and clicking stuff out of the background tons and tons of times. And with Mark Taylor Gardner had a piece of video where he accidentally caught 2 squatchlets in the tree up above him in the treetop playing in the branches, and an adult running across this hillside, and hadn't even realized he caught it because he did such a fast pan. And the guy not only noticed this and did a breakdown on it, but he was pulling out all the popping and clicking sounds in the background because they were following him around the whole damn time he was out there filming.
Well, yeah, Walls and we've heard this more than a couple of times out there. The metallic sound, and we can't explain it. The first time we heard it, we was up in this mountain in North Georgia, top of this mountain that's notorious for Bigfoot sightings, and we're doing our night walk, our night hike, and we hear this metallic sound that sound like if you ever pushed your kid or any kid on an old rusty swing set. That's what this sounded like. It sounded, I mean, to me, that's what the image that popped in my head was, pushing a child on an old rusty swing set. But it was just this metallic sound, and we're in the middle of the woods. There's nothing but wood and rocks for as far as you can see, and it's pitch black outside. What is making this sound?
Yeah. It's interesting. I had one of the earliest guests I had on my shows, a local guy here who also happens to be the drummer for the band that does music for my show, Swamp Ritual. But he was camping up on one of the mountains that I've done some camping on in this one really weird, peculiar area. And they were just having a bonfire and being up there later than they should have been. And what he described it, both of them described it, they both heard the same thing, and it was pretty much the same description. It sounded like sheet metal tearing, and then it morphed into a roar.
Wow.
It scared the crap out of both of them. And at first, they literally thought there was like somehow something was tearing sheet metal. But then it turned into this roar-like sound, and then they didn't know what the hell they were listening to.
Yeah, when you just when you just said sounded like sheet metal, that kind of brought it back to me. I can see that. Wow. But I mean, it's just, there's so many questions about these things, and I'm afraid that we're never going to know the answers. But yeah, I want to get that contact info on them, on the guy that's collecting the audio on the metallic stuff. Cause
yep, just go to his YouTube channel, Bigfoot Anthropologist. He actually did a nice breakdown of Barry Webster, Rich Soul, and that whole team over there when they were out on a night recon, had a whole bunch of Bigfoot around them and were recording it. And, he extracted all of the Bigfoot pops and clicks and noises they were making in the background from it. And it's really cool.
Yeah. I got a question with a Ted actually asking this, but I'm going to ask it with him. It's at 9:42. If you find it, Wayne, you can pull it up. It says, which is kind of a really good question. How do you determine or between a Bigfoot roar and a bear's roar? Which I don't think I've ever heard of a bear roar.
Yeah, how do you differentiate between a Bigfoot roar and a bear's?
Bears don't have the lung capacity of a Bigfoot.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I ain't never really. I mean, I know
Bigfoot roar has different pitch to it. Yeah, some of them will start out really deep and it'll turn into a scream. They can make a roar that's like people described the T-Rex roar on Jurassic Park. And one thing they have in common is they're incredibly loud, and they go on for a while. And there aren't any bears that have that kind of lung capacity.
I think add to that, in my theory, I think that a lot of Bigfoots will use coyotes to hide their roars in a way. And bears, you're going to hear them by themselves anyway. The coyotes are not going to be around them. I think Bigfoots kind of hide their roars with them unless it's maybe possibly a rogue or something. But that's my kind of theory is I think they kind of hide their roars with the coyotes.
I think the vocalization thing totally depends on what area you're in, because I've done research in areas where they don't make vocals ever. You're never going to hear them make any damn vocals. If they make anything, it's copying local wildlife, which they don't do perfectly, and it's too loud. Like in northern Minnesota, I heard them copying wolves and loons. That's it. Never heard them make an actual Bigfoot roar or anything. No, I do not cast prints. I consider it a waste of time because most of the substrate we have here is so hard and dry it won't pick up a dermal ridge. Those really rare occasions we find them in the mud or something like that. It's really rare you find a complete track in the mud. where you can do anything with it here, especially because we're at like 7,000 or 8,000 feet up on top of a mountain. There ain't much mud up there.
So you find it as a waste of time just because of where you're located, not...
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if we were in a lowland area and we found a good set of nice tracks or something, I would go get the casting material and come back and cast them. It'd be worth doing. But a lot of the stuff we have, man, you can't even see it on film, much less, have anything there that's actually worth casting. A lot of the ground around here, an elephant could walk across it and it wouldn't leave a track. Because, they don't call it the muddy mountains. They're called the Rocky Mountains.
That's true.
And we get 14 whole inches of annual precipitation here. So guess how hard and dry the ground is.
14 whole inches.
Yeah.
Annual rainfall. Wow.
Yeah. If it was a couple inches less, it would technically be a desert here. We're right on the verge of not even being able to have a forest here because it's so dry.
Yeah, I picture that when I picture Montana. I've never been out there, but I picture just a big dry state.
The 2/3 to the east side of it that we call the Big Ugly. Yeah, that's like if you see the movie High Plains Drifter or something, that's what that looks like. Yeah, throwaway country.
Our buddy Daryl Owen has another question. Have you ever found hair? Have you had it DNA tested?
Yes, 2019 when I had Caveman and Kevin Lang up here with me. Caveman investigated a spot over by the river that looked really suspicious and ended up finding hair there. And they pulled out a couple baggies full of samples. And so we got them out of there. Kev sent samples off to a lab, and then he still had more in reserve. The goon squad showed up and took his hair samples away from him. And they also took the hair samples away from the guy at the lab, made sure he was fired and that he'd never be able to work at a DNA testing facility again. So, yeah, that was my experience with having hair samples.
Wow. Kind of makes me worry about mine.
Well, it's all fun and dandy. You find it dandy to have them, but what are you going to do with them? The fact of the matter is, where are you going to get a lab that's going to test them? They won't test them. I know all kinds of people that have hair samples and other samples, and they can't find a lab that'll test them.
Yeah, Daryl and I, our regular viewers know about the sample that Daryl and I found, and I've still got it. Haven't sent it anywhere yet. Still not sure where. Just like you said, what do you do with it? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it.
Well, how will that be with anything in a way? Because you get something bigger than hair. I mean, what are you really going to do with it? I mean,
yeah. Well, there's been tissue samples found too. I mean, there was a toenail that went into the Ketchum DNA study. If I remember right, it was Super Southwest luminary Rob Kreider that found that one. But they didn't just have hair samples; they had actual tissue samples and stuff too that went into that DNA test. So it is, it does occasionally happen where you can find a piece of one. Let's put it that way.
Janice Carter,
a barbed wire fence or something.
Janice Carter told us about a tooth that she had from Fox.
Yeah.
That disappeared.
I mean, until the government takes the seatbelts off, we're not going to be. It's going to be harder for us to do anything. I mean, our good bud Daryl, y'all know what happened with him, and that's plain and simple right there, black and white, filed, everything. I mean, it's there. I mean,
Daryl's under a couple suppression orders.
Yeah,
things he can't talk about.
Yep.
Like I mentioned, Kev, they made him take down his whole year long of every week being on there doing Q&A sessions about GLAG. That was too objectionable. You have to take that off your channel.
Who made him take it off?
Goon Squad. He was threatened.
Men in Black, things like that. I mean,
Duke, what do you think Sasquatch is?
Atypical. I think they're relic humans. If you want to go biblical with it, they'd be pre-Adamites. They're not Nephilim. I'm just about 99% sure of that. And people would say, well, they're Nephilim. We can prove it. Well, how can you prove it? You got Nephilim DNA to compare to the Ketchum DNA study? No, you can't prove it. It's all supposition. And if you go according, well, what are the Nephilim? Well, the Nephilim are the descendants of the fallen angel. The Nephilim were all wiped out by the flood. There aren't any left. After the flood, they're called Rephaim. So first of all, you're not even using proper terminology. And secondly, all of the spawn that have close bloodlines to the original one, and you can go with Gary Wayne on this too, who talks about it extensively. I've had him on my show many times. There's ways to tell. The humanoid ones have double rows of teeth. They have 6 digits, hands and feet. They tend to be gigantic. There was only one tribe of the Nephilim or Rephaim that were supposed to have been hairy, and that was the Horim. That doesn't necessarily mean it was Bigfoot. If you go biblical, you got a whole bunch of different options there. There's the Horim, there's pre-Adamites, there's descendants of Esau, there's descendants of Cain, blah, blah, blah. So, go looking in the Bible and, it's definitely this. No, it's definitely not definite. You got lots of options there. But one of them that you can pretty much exclude is the Nephilim, because they just don't fit that pattern.
Okay, so what else did you say at the? So do you think that? I don't know. I don't know how to word what I want to say. I kind of feel like I'm I'm definitely in the biological camp. I think it's a creature, a flesh and blood creature. I don't know what to make of the whole shapeshifter or going into portals and the whole UFO connection. I just don't know what to make of that. I'm more of it's an animal that we haven't caught up with yet. I just don't know.
Well, I'm going to challenge you on that one. If it's just an animal we haven't caught up with yet, how come we haven't had one in a zoo for 150 years?
Great question. I know.
We can catch anything. We can shoot anything. Before we even had gunpowder technology, we were out in big stretched out canoes with iron barbed harpoons. They were killing the biggest animals on earth, whales, with those. That's before we were even using guns. Okay. Anything that's out there that's a normal animal, we can kill it and bring it in easily. And if they were normal animals, we would have had one in a zoo 150 years ago.
So you think that there's some kind of connection with what else? What else could it be, dude?
Well, the Ketchum DNA study says mitochondrial DNA, human, nuclear DNA, which is the father's line, unknown. So we don't have anything to match it to right now. So we know that they're at least close enough that, they're very, very close to us genetically. So they're either us or there's something closely related. There's like a percentage of people in Northern Europe have Neanderthal blood in them, even though there hasn't been any Neanderthals around in how freaking long. But enough of them inbred with the population that the average over there is about 3% or slightly less. So, Neanderthal in a sense are still around because they inbred with humans. Well, they're not humans. We didn't descend from them. They're not our ancestors. They're related species, just like Denisovans are, potentially Heidelbergensis and some of these other early, hominid forms that are presumably extinct now. And they were all close enough to mate with us. So that's not a surprise that, Sasquatch being that close to us could mate with us too. The only question here is, what's the other part of their DNA? We could potentially have skeletal remains of Bigfoot already and not even know about it because the fragments are so old you can't extract the DNA. And until you can get that out, and you would have to have the nuclear DNA of the father's line done and then compare to that in order to know.
So, yeah, bring up a lot of really, really good points. It's so interesting. So interesting. I mean, it makes you, once you think you have a good idea, you hear stuff like what you just said and what other people will say, and then you have to start rethinking it. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think they're flesh and blood, but I also think they have paranormal abilities. And, I'm not alone in that camp. Dr. Igor Burtsev, the Department of Hominology in Moscow, Russia, would totally agree with me on that one. And I even, had him on episode 100 and pinned him down and went, well, what's the deal? Why is it so hard to get pictures of these things? Why can't we catch one? Blah, blah, blah. And he's been out in the field studying them 60 years. He said they have paranormal abilities that we don't understand.
Dr. Igor Burtsev said that?
Yep.
Wow.
As far as I'm concerned, he's demand. Go back and watch episode 100 on my show if you don't believe me.
We're working on getting him on ours. Janice is helping us, and the next time he's in the States, I think we're going to be able to get him on ours. But yeah, that's impressive. I mean, people get paranormal confused. I mean, paranormal doesn't just mean ghosts. It doesn't just mean ghost hunters. Paranormal is just things that are out of the norm, right?
Yeah. It's basically any kind of phenomenon that science hasn't got a, mechanical, technical, numerical terminology for it yet. It's something observable that's happening, but we can't exactly explain how it's happening. And if you look at a lot of the early scientific discoveries and stuff, they figured out something that would do a certain thing before they really understood how the hell it was happening. There were devices people would make that would, do certain things, and it did this, but they didn't know why. Sometimes it took 20, 30 years later for physicists and hard scientists to catch up to it and go, oh, it's because this and this and this is causing it to do this. That's why. Okay, thanks for the explanation. We just knew that it did that. So
we had a question back here wanted to get to. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit. Do you have face eaters in Montana? That's the gugwees, right? That you were talking about earlier?
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't had any reliable reports out of Montana of there being face eaters here. People in Montana, if they see something that looks like Bigfoot, they just think it's Bigfoot. And if it's a face eater, it eats them, and they don't get to make the report, and they become a missing person. The nearest place I know of where there's reports of them is over in Washington State and over on the western border of Idaho. There's some reports from over there.
Uncle Duke.
Hey, Bomber, love you too, hon.
Okay, I saw one. This is what I think. I'm in this camp right here, Gigantopithecus blackie.
Dr. Meldrum abandoned that theory several years ago. He was on that camp too.
Really?
Doesn't hold up to scrutiny. He's leaning more toward Heidelbergensis now. I'm personally in the camp that doesn't even believe Gigantopithecus actually ever existed. So, no, I don't think that's it. Some giant bamboo-eating ape from over there isn't going to be able to accommodate its diet and lifestyle to every other niche on Earth. And let's face it, big apes aren't as smart as people are. They wouldn't be able to avoid detection for that long. The other thing is that it's questionable what this thing actually is. They don't have any evidence on it other than a few molars and 2 jawbones. And they're trying to extrapolate a whole species out of that. That's what I like to call pixie dust science. They got a preconceived notion. They're trying to fit what little evidence they got into the box and claim it's this, and it lived at this altitude, and it ate bamboo, and it got to be this big, and it took its children out on Sundays to go to the local skating rink or whatever crap they come up with. It's all BS supposition. You got a few frickin' bones, jaw bones. That's it. No skeleton, no skull, just some jaw bones, 2 of them, and some molars. And you're going to come up with all this garbage on. Interestingly, back in the day when they found these things originally, there were still some scientists that weren't 100% taken over by the current paradigm that also looked independently at these remains and immediately pronounced them to be Meganthropus, which, if you know your Latin, will tell you mega huge human, not big ape. But another team said, oh, there's no such thing as giants. That's biblical. It's a giant ape, therefore Gigantopithecus. And the whole scientific community went, oh, yeah, we don't believe in giants, so it had to be a giant ape, Gigantopithecus. So that's what I think of Gigantopithecus. I think it's a fairy tale.
So you said they've got documents showing that they found jawbones?
All they have from Gigantopithecus for the last 100 years is 2 jawbones, not complete, and some molars. That's it.
But jawbone, so that basically proves that they were around then, right?
That proves that something was there. The debate is what exactly, since you don't have a skeleton to prove that it was an ape or a human. And the jawbone and tooth fragments could have come from a giant ape or a giant human. And like I said, one team said Meganthropus, giant human. Another one said Gigantopithecus, giant ape. Well, that's more scientific, so.
So is that they wasn't able to get the DNA out of it, or
way too old? There's no DNA available in that stuff. You're talking 40, 50,000 years old. All the DNA is long since gone.
Now, I've heard that they were able to extrapolate some DNA from what was believed to be a Gigantopithecus.
I'd like to see the report on that because I hadn't heard about it, and I strongly doubt it, considering the age and the condition. They're finding these things in Chinese apothecary shops where they take dragon bones, quote unquote, which is any kind of fossil bone, they grind it up and make medicine out of it. And the original scientists found one of these and went, "What the heck is this thing? Wait. You find any more like these? Don't grind them up. I'll buy them from you." So that's how he got a few molars. And he went, "What is this thing from?" Well, then eventually, way later, they found part of a jaw. And they went, "Well, these, look like, same thing. So must be this. And let's make up this big pixie dust fairy tale scientific story about this giant ape based on nothing but supposition because we don't even have a friggin' skull, much less a skeleton."
So have they took the molars and tried to do modern age now with, because I know that they can get human DNA from teeth now with the equipment that we have now that's been gone 50 something years ago, and they've pulled them out and, hey, this is a old murder case that was closed.
Yeah, that's 50 years. That's 50 years, not 50,000 years. DNA has a very short shelf life. After a few hundred years, the chance of extracting is very good. And when you start going back thousands of years, you're getting really iffy. And anything beyond, unless the conditions of preservation are absolutely perfect, there's no way the DNA is going to survive.
Yeah. One more real quick. When was your last mountain giant report?
I talked about that on the Lost Cryptids Conservatory. I think there was one here in Montana where something turned over a really huge double axle truck with a camper on it, but nobody cited it and there was no tracks or anything. And that's the only one within the last 3 years we could possibly attribute to a mountain giant here.
This is a really good question, I think, from Randy Mahoney. Duke, do you think the giant skeletons they dug up were Sasquatch?
No, that's a good question. Some of them potentially could be, but a lot of them were found in mounds and stuff where there was evidence of the prehistoric construction of the mound builder culture. And the mound builder culture seemed to be that it was mostly humans, but there was a few of these giants that were actually running the frickin' show. And that's where these skeletons would come up. They'd dig up a mound and they'd find like one or two of these giant skeletons and then maybe a whole bunch of other human skeletons, 10, 15, 20, 30 of them. Maybe were retainers for these guys, got the privilege of being buried with them or whatever. But it was rare that they would dig up a mound just out in the middle of nowhere that had like one skeleton in it that happened to be a giant. I think the Bigfoot are actually really good at hiding their burial, so we're not likely to find one. And most of these places that stick out like a sore thumb, like, what the hell is this mound? Let's dig it up. Well, that was this organized civilization, and those weren't Bigfoot. They were giants. All the natives still have legends about what they look like and everything. Fair-skinned, red-haired, 8 people. 9 was, the short ones were like around 9 or 10 feet, and the big ones got up to like 18 feet.
God. Andy Jones, hey Duke, what happened to Kat Hansen? Does she still deal with her troop?
I don't know. She's got her own channel on YouTube. You can go keep up with her there.
All right. We just had a question about your channel. Your channel is World Bigfoot Radio on here. Duke, we've gone over an hour. You have any plugs? Anything you want to plug real quick before we get out of here? Tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, not only on YouTube, but you can find me over on Rumble, on BitChute, on Odyssey, and on Bright Eon. I've got premieres coming up on Rumble. I've been trying to get people over to Rumble recently, so anytime I turn out a new video, it's up a day or two before on Rumble before it gets over to YouTube, whether I do a premiere on YouTube or not. You can already go over there and get it. So if you guys like my content, get over to Rumble, sign up over there. YouTube is not reliable, and I'm expecting they're going to start putting the clamps on channels like this shortly. So I'm moving everything elsewhere. Also, Fascist Book literally unpersoned me almost 3 years ago and took down everything I ever posted and gave me no reason for doing so. And that's when I decided to go find other platforms, and I went over to MeWe, which is incredibly stable and does zero censorship. Somebody started a rumor here about 2 weeks ago that they were censoring posts, and the owner of the company came on MeWe and said, "We are not censoring anything. That was a lie," and stopped that BS dead in its tracks. He can't stand Mark Zuckerberg, and he basically started the platform because he can afford to, and he wants to kick Zuckerberg in the ass. So if you hate Facebook, go on over to MeWe. There's a group over there called I Hate Facebook, and if you want to post a picture of Zuckerberg sucking a bag of you know what, you can do it. They don't care. You can get away with anything on MeWe as long as it ain't illegal. And I love it. There's a ton of Bigfoot groups over here already, and there's some good paranormal groups. So come on over and join up. Mine is World Bigfoot Central on MeWe. If you're still on Fascist Book and you like being oppressed and living in a concentration camp, I have a group over there too. It's still got 5,000 members hanging on. That's Montana Bigfoot Project, so you can go check that one out.
All right. Yeah, guys, I like MeWe so far. I haven't spent a whole lot of time over there, but we also have a group over there called Mannimal Research. So yeah, we over there check Duke's out and check ours out as well. Duke, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us, buddy. It's always fun and entertaining when you stop by and hang out, and we'd love to have you back.
Well, you're welcome, guys. Yeah, just let me know. I'll be back in the future. You know, I got a bunch of shows that want me to come back and pester them again for some reason. So I got that coming up. But give me a couple months or something. Get back to me. I'll come back on again. You know, summer's more fun because then I'm actually out doing things, so I can show up and go, "Oh yeah, I got this great video of a 70-foot X structure yesterday." That kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, you take care of yourself, and we will be in touch. And be good, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys. Night, everybody. Love y'all. See you soon.
See ya.
See you,
All right. Always interesting when Duke's on. Yeah, his knowledge is incredible. And how he remembers all these big words, I don't know, because I
can't do that.
No. I can't even pronounce these big words, and he's rambling them off one right after the other. All right, buddy, you got anything else before we get out of here? Good show tonight, guys. Great audience participation as always. We got the best audience out there. You guys are awesome. You got anything, buddy?
No, guys, be safe, be good to each other, and if you do get out, be safe out there. And just have a good night and the week. Hopefully it stays pretty.
Well, we're gonna get some rain, so I'm afraid the pretty's over.
Maybe it goes to somebody else.
All right, man. Yeah, like my boy over there said, y'all be safe, be good to each other. That's the most important thing. Just be good to each other. Take care of one another, and we will catch you later. See you guys. Y'all be safe.